and welcome back to History Videos for Kids. Today, we are going to be talking about Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon was born on the 15th of August, 1769. Remember when we talked about the French Revolution a couple of videos ago? Do you remember the ending? France was without a leader, and that is where Bonaparte plays in this history lesson. While France was without a ruler, the landowners and soldiers were able to vote for leaders. The French leaders were placed in houses labeled the Council of 500 and the Council of Ancients, which resembles the House of Representatives and Senate in America. These houses appointed 5 gentlemen to reside in what they called the Directory. These 5 men ruled over France. The Directory had several duties, and of course, one of their duties was to defend their beloved country. After all, Austria had declared war on France. The Austrians declared war on France during the chaotic French Revolution, and they were still attempting to attack it. The 5 men in the Directory had to think fast, and so they chose Napoleon Bonaparte to lead the French army. This would not be an easy task. Do you remember Robespierre from the French Revolution? He ordered Napoleon to gather men that were still loyal to the throne and kill them. And do you know what? Napoleon did just that. He killed hundreds of Frenchmen that were loyal to the throne. Napoleon was a very competitive man. He did anything to win. As long as he was on the winning side, he was satisfied. As soon as Napoleon got the order from the Directory, he advanced his troops forward and into Italy, which the Austrians occupied. The reason they were heading to Italy was because their nemesis, the Austrians, were in control of most of Italy. If they could drive away the Austrians, their dear country would be safe. You might be surprised to hear that Napoleon and his French troops managed to drive off the Austrians. It was hard because Napoleon's troops were famished and destitute. Napoleon gave a speech that filled his exhausted men's hearts with a fire that allowed them to defeat the Austrians. After driving the Austrians away, Napoleon demanded his troops take Italy's statues and paintings. They even took the Mona Lisa, which is in Paris to this day. Napoleon said that he would not ransack the church because he respected it. Even after saying this, he still took the silver and gold vessels. After defeating the Austrians in Italy, Napoleon's army headed to Vienna. Vienna is Austria's capital. The Austrians doubted that they could hold off the French army, so they gave Napoleon the countries of Lombardy and Belgium. They also vowed to keep a peace treaty with Napoleon. After Napoleon returned home, he was invited to many ceremonies and parties. When Napoleon was around the more sophisticated people, he said that he only did what he did for the good of France. When he was around his friends, he would brag about his many victories and let them know he was hungry for more power. The Directory noticed that Napoleon wanted more power, so they ordered him to raid Great Britain. They did this knowing that he had a high likelihood of dying. Napoleon knew that his chances of surviving were slim, so he asked the Directory to let his army invade Egypt instead. The Directory decided that it was a good idea. The French army did just that, and they conquered many parts of Egypt. Unfortunately, the British army caught up to Napoleon, and the two armies fought. This was called the Battle of the Nile. Many of the French ships were captured, and Napoleon abandoned his troops, sneaking away in a small ship. When Napoleon returned to France, no one knew the outcomes in Egypt, so he was once again deemed a hero. This time, Napoleon was determined to gain control. He had armed men march behind him, and he barged in to the Council of Ancients. He declared that the Directory was no longer strong enough to protect France. The Council of Ancients decided that Napoleon was right, and so they got rid of the Directory and put 3 consuls in place. Napoleon was one of the consuls. Not too long after this happened, Napoleon became the one and only consul, which allowed him to become emperor. Napoleon finally had full power. He now wanted to overpower Britain, but he didn't have enough money, so that is why he sold the Louisiana Territory to America. With the money he received, he built many boats to try to overtake Britain. Britain had a strong navy and they easily defeated the French. This was called the Battle of Trafalgar. France was never able to defeat Britain, so Napoleon tried to overtake other European countries. Well, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed this skit. See you next time.